You know before you go.
That's
and
right.
You've been warning about this storm for quite some time, Stacey.
Yes, and we talked about it being two separate areas of energy, and the first part of that energy went up to Fort Collins this morning, and now we're getting that second batch coming in, and so it'll continue to snow tonight and in through tomorrow as well. Let's take a look at our temperatures in through the next few hours. It's really going to get cold. 13 degrees by 7 o'clock, 10 degrees by 9 o'clock, and 9 degrees by 11 o'clock, with the snow continuing throughout tonight and lasting into tomorrow. Some of these snowfall totals we've taken over the last couple of hours, we've seen almost a foot at almost all of the resorts up in the high country, and those are those updated totals just within the last hour. Estes Park has had about 10.5, Breckenridge 10, Fort Collins 5, the city of Loveland about 3 and 1.5 in Boulder, but it has still been snowing here over the last few hours, so we're going to continue to see those snowfall totals go up. The snow, the cold, the icy roads, that'll all be affecting us tonight. We will continue to have more snow in the mountains. We've already seen about a foot, and we'll see another foot more or so. Snow continues into Denver tomorrow, and because this was a late arriving storm, it slowed down. So we're going to see it last longer throughout the day tomorrow and even have some snowfall into tomorrow night. Our temperatures right now, though, are cold. 14 at DIA, 15 in Aurora, 16 in Littleton, and 14 in Artefata, but that's just half the story. Look at these wind chills. It feels like it's 16 below at Sterling, 1 below in Denver, and 3 below for Fort Collins, 10 below if you're in Greeley. Very cold conditions out there tonight, and it's getting colder as we speak. So winter weather advisory here for the Front Range and the Eastern Plains. They upgraded the Eastern Plains out toward Burlington up to a winter storm warning. Everything else in pink is also a winter storm warning. And overall, we're expecting 6 to 12 inches for the foothills, a couple of feet up in the mountains, Front Range 3 to 8 inches. So these snowfall totals still stand as this storm is moving in. So this is that second batch of energy coming in from southwestern Colorado, kind of pushing across our area, and we will continue to see that snowfall here in through tonight. So the snow widespread here across the Front Range now, and it's starting to stick to the roadways for us. Up through northeastern Colorado, the snow tapered off after this morning. We'll start to see that spread out in through the rest of tonight as well. And where that winter storm warning is around Burlington, we have some snow falling, and that goes over the border of Colorado as well. Rain in Grand Junction, then as you go up in elevation, it changes over to snowfall, which will also continue in through tonight. So I wanted to show you our futurecast go through the next few hours. Keep your eye on this dark blue blob. That's heavier snowfall, and it's going to make its way into Denver as we head toward 9 o'clock tonight. Kind of stick around for a little while, then push back up into the mountains, but we'll still have light to moderate snowfall here for the Front Range and the Eastern Plains. This will be by 5:30 tomorrow morning. Snow still sticking around. Our low tonight, 5 degrees with snow, heavy at times. We'll see some of those bands moving throughout tonight, and then 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, you see we still have snow for the Front Range all the way up into the mountains and across the Eastern Plains. As we go toward 10 o'clock, it's still here. We have heavier snow up through the high country into 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with snow around Denver. And even as we get into the evening hours, by 11 o'clock at night, snow sticking around here for Metro all the way down into southern Colorado. So that's what I mean when I say it will stay longer tomorrow versus leaving early in the morning. It'll be here into the evening. As for our snowfall forecast, we're still expecting that 4 to 8 inch range here around the metro. Higher amounts up to around a foot up to the high country. Highs tomorrow, only 15 degrees here in Denver. We'll have 14 for Greeley, 13 for Lyman, and 10 for Sterling, with 20s and 30s for the mountains. Our forecast for the next few days, overnight lows in the single digits. I think we're going to need to extend that first alert action day into Monday, because that commute Monday morning will be very cold and icy. Temperatures in the 20s for the day, 35 on Tuesday, and then 40s and 50s through the middle and end of the week, even a chance for a few showers on Friday.
And if you see a dark blue blob, just run. Right,
I like that term.
See you in a bit. Coming up next, the beer feud over corn syrup.
How Coors is fighting back against ads they say misrepresent their brand.
And speaking of Coors, big changes to their brewery tours. How long you have left to get those beer samples for free? Stay with us.
We had the greatest of all time. Now we have people that lost, and all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with okay?
That is President Trump speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC, in Maryland today, talking about what he called the collusion delusion and Dems trying to take him down.
Let's inspect every deal he's ever done. We're going to go into his finances. We're going to check his deals. We're going to check. These people are sick.
The president also announced he would soon be signing an executive order requiring colleges and universities to support free speech. Now, he brought up a conservative activist punched at Berkeley last month. The President Trump says if schools don't oblige, they will no longer receive federal funds.
And here at home this week, more than 200 people packed the state capitol to talk about a sex education bill that's generating a lot of buzz. That bill would change how your child is taught sex ed. On this weekend's Politics Unplugged, Marianne Goodlett from ColoradoPolitics.com talks to Ann Trujillo about why the bill is so controversial.
So this is more about just defining what can be taught or what can't be taught in our classrooms?
A little bit of both. You also have some clarification around what charter schools can teach. We've had a couple of charter schools that are using what, on its face at least, looks like a sectarian sex education curriculum. They've obtained state waivers from state law to do that, and this bill would eliminate that. And then, but I think one of the things that people are most interested in has to do with the Me Too movement. This bill talks a lot about consent and healthy relationships.
And you can hear more of that conversation Sunday at 4 on Politics Unplugged.
We want to go out to Lance Hernandez, who's out in the elements up near Longmont.
So, Lance, how does it look there along I-25 where you are tonight?
Well, we've got heavy snow and heavy traffic on I-25. I'm just a few blocks south of the Longmont exit. Traffic picking up. You can see the snow accumulating on the frontage road here and on the lanes of I-25. We've seen snow plows go by, and there's a lot of heavy traffic, so it's keeping some paths worn on the pavement itself, but we've seen traffic moving at speed. No problems up here. Further north, snow quite a bit heavier. I'm told that they've got about 5 inches on the ground in Fort Collins already. That city on accident alert, expected to be so until about 9:30 tonight. So if you're up in northern Colorado, be aware they're getting a lot of snow up here, some of it wind driven. So the snow and packed snow will be an issue on travel for highways and roads that aren't as heavily traveled as I-25. Reporting live in the Longmont area, Lance Hernandez, Denver 7.
All right, encouraging everyone to drive safely out there. Thanks, Lance.
Thank you, Lance. For everything you need to know about tonight's snow, head to our Denver 7 Facebook page. And you can always get the latest snow totals and radar information on our Denver 7 apps for Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Well, you know those famous free beer samples you get after a tour of the Coors Brewery in Golden? Pretty soon, Jacqueline, they're going to cost you.
The brewery will start charging people to take tours at the end of March. Tickets for people from out of state who are 21 and up, those tickets will be $10. For Coloradans, it's $5. You still get your 3 beer samples, plus a new option to take a guided tour.
Our calories are lower than Bud Light. Our carbs are lower than Bud Light.
That's not our corn syrup.
It's the Battle of the Brews. Now, you may have seen the jab from Bud Light during the Super Bowl. They criticized Coors for using corn syrup. And now we're hearing a response from the man behind the Colorado brewery, Pete Coors.
And a story you'll see only on Denver 7. We are taking a 360 look at the corn syrup controversy and Coors' plan to fight back.
Hours, we don't brew Bud Light with corn syrup.
Call it Corngate or yield controversy. This Bud Light Super Bowl ad is what started a firestorm in the beer world.
Oh, brewers of Coors Light, is this corn syrup yours?
Well, well, well. Looks like the corn syrup has come home to be brewed.
And Bud Light isn't backing down. In fact, they're now taking their ad campaign right here to the heart of Coors country with these 3 well-placed billboards you can't miss driving into Denver on 6th Avenue in big, bold letters. They're throwing shade at Coors Light for brewing its beer with corn syrup. So tonight we're going 360 on this big beer battle for 5 different perspectives. Starting with Pete Coors himself. He's defending Colorado's hometown brand.
I do think that there was an intention on their part to deceive consumers.
Coors says they have nothing to hide and are proud of their corn syrup.
We're very proud of the ingredients we use. We use corn syrup because it gives us a very consistent product.
He's also quick to point out they aren't using the high fructose corn syrup most health-conscious consumers dread.
And there's a big difference between high fructose corn syrup and the corn syrup we use here in our brewery.
Owens says none of the corn syrup actually ends up in these bottles of Coors Light.
It's all been consumed by the yeast, and there's no corn syrup left.
Right now we are at liquid adjunct warming.
They even showed us where the real gigantic barrels of corn syrup are kept.
We get in rail cars of corn syrup and we heat them up to fluidize them.
As for any future Coors or Miller ad campaigns taking on Bud Light, Coors says for now, Colorado's hometown brand is going high.
I was very disappointed. We need to grow the beer industry as a whole, and their actions, I think, if anything, will cause more drinkers to go away from beer.
Meanwhile, the corn industry is also firing back. They tweeted, Bud Light, America's corn farmers are disappointed in you. Bud Light responded to the pushback with another tweet, saying yeesh, that escalated quickly. And in the Bud Light kingdom, we love corn too. We can't call this a battle of the beers without bringing in Colorado's craft brew scene.
This is my Kolsch. This is my answer to Bud Light.
Paul Webster brews his beers on Broadway with a little bit of everything.
We've used Pop-Tarts and brownies and stuff to have fun with the beers.
But you won't find any corn syrup here.
It's a light ale. Look, it's real light. No corn sugar.
For those craft brewers who do.
Is it against the rules? You just don't talk about it.
While he would never use it in his beer, he thinks Budweiser's campaign is going to backfire.
They use just as much junk as any of the other big brewers.
It's more than a little disingenuous for Budweiser to say what they said.
Which brings us to the head of DU's hospitality school. David Corson says Coors Light uses corn syrup as a cheaper partial replacement for malted barley.
You can't brew beer without fermenting sugar into alcohol. And at that tier of beer, Bud Light included, it's not cost effective to use barley.
Bud Light uses rice, which is pretty much the same idea.
There's no difference.
He says it's not about health, it's about quality, leaving this corn versus rice debate as silly as dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
Jennifer Kowaleski.